Check, check, check. All right, y'all. This is my first live stream, but I'm still getting a few things under control. I want to make sure everything's looking good and whatnot. Huh? All right. Just give me a moment, y'all. Just want to make sure everything is good. Can y'all hear me? Can you message in the chat? Can you just leave a message in the chat? Let me know if you can hear me well, and then we'll get this thing started. All right, perfect. Thank you, thank you. All right. So today we're going to be talking about, as you see in the title, mistakes that every beginner videographer probably makes. And yeah, I just want to share my experience with that. So let me get a couple things together real quick, and we'll get this thing going. All right. All right, y'all. So again, I'll have to say this mistake. They're not ranked, but I'm just gonna go from the first one that I could think off of my head real quick. So mistake number one, I'll say people make out there as a beginner videographer or photographer is overspending on gear. Um, YouTube is a big advertisement thing, right? Like all of the YouTubers and all of the influencers tell you buy this, do that. Honestly, is I'll suggest find a brand that you want to kind of stick with for at least 4 to 5 years. So whether that's Canon, Nikon, Sony, or Lumix, right? Do your research on that side of things. You know what I mean? And then commit to it. I know a lot of new cameras come up with different styles and different features and stuff like that, and it may make you want to switch, but switching camera brands is more expensive than anything else within this industry. You know what I mean? So do your due diligence. Whether if you like Canon colors and you like, rent, right? So you should rent it out first, see how it is before you actually really go all the way in, because buying, testing, and then selling, it's a waste of money and a waste of time. So definitely I'll just say do your due diligence and get a brand that you can really trust and kind of stick within that, and then rent out or borrow everything that you're interested in and see if you really need this, or see if this is really going to make your workflow better. The only time I suggest that you buy something new is to either replace, or if it's actually going to add on to generating a better quality product or generating more money at the end of the day. Those are the two things that really matter when it comes to investing. Secondly, I'll say is having watching too much video. I know I'm doing a live stream and you're probably watching this too, but don't spend your whole day looking at YouTube videos or looking at TikTok. The best learner in life is doing. So if you're out there and you're interested or you're intrigued or you're curious about doing some stuff, set up your own dates. Like do a mock wedding. If you want to get into weddings, find a couple that's comfortable with being in front of the camera and do a mock wedding first, so that you can at least showcase what you're capable of. I always suggest people to do practice shoots. I call them practice shoots, but it's shoots that are technically free but with special intent, and only do it if you feel like you can really create something that you're going to be proud of. You know what I mean? So put the energy into it, like, yeah, I'm going to be proud of this at the end result, and then you'll be able to pitch that for paid jobs. So don't say yes to everything, but I'll say sacrifice your beginning at learning and creating a style, and creating, like, find somebody that inspires you, and then go out and shoot it. So pretty much, long point short, is don't just continue to watch and read. Do more than study. You know what I mean? And hopefully that makes sense, because that's kind of what got me where I'm at. I never went to school for none of this stuff. I said, you know what, I'm capable of doing it. I seen some people doing it. I always had a passion for creativity. I have a background in music, so I wanted to transition from music into being behind the camera. I used to be a lot in front of the camera. I want to, do a lot of stuff behind the camera, and look at me now, I'm back in front of the camera. But anyways, I still wanted to just pivot and learn that, So definitely do. If you got the time, do something every day. And even me myself, somebody who's been a full-time creator for the last 2 years, I even get caught up in just writing stuff down and planning stuff out, and oh, I do this at this time when the timing is right. Like all that kind of stuff doesn't always work out. Time waits for nobody. Our time is very limited, man. Like it's like this. We think it's like this, but it's really like this. So you might as well go out there and do it and learn on the job sometimes. You know what I mean? Um, Another mistake that I would say beginners do kind of make is I don't want to say it's a mistake, but sometimes people price themselves wrong, I'll say if you're doing real estate photography, right? Figure out what the going rate is in your town, and then look at your skill level and look at the skill level at the person that you're looking at, right? And then try to get yourself to that rate, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, though, if you really are a beginner, you got to do shit for free. You know what I'm trying to say? Like you got to do a few things for free. Like I said earlier with the mock weddings, you know what I mean? So again, kind of learn what your price point is. Figure out how much you should charge for the work that you're going to do. And if you feel like your quality is up to par with other people, then get your rate closer to that. You know what I'm trying to say? If you feel like you need to grow a little bit more, then make it reasonable. You know what I'm saying? And then find people that are able to be happy with, maybe not the most stellar product at the end of the day, but they'll still be happy what you do deliver to them. And then always practice. You know what I mean? So again, that's one mistake. I've seen some people just charge up the ass and like, oh, I'm not going to do it unless I get this, and like, cool, whatever. But like, I'm still doing it at a more affordable rate, but I'm getting more business done. I'm making more networks. I'm making more connections. And now these people say, yo, he's good, and they introduce you to another person. And now you bump the rate on that person. You don't bump it on the person who you did the favor for, but you bump it on the next person. And now, regardless, now you got two people working with you, that are going to come back and work with you. And so it's just, I say do that research. So I think the main theme in what I'm about to be talking about for the rest of this live stream is doing the work early so that you don't gotta like make mistakes or like feel regrets afterwards. You know what I mean? Um and then yeah, I'll say another thing that people could also look at is let me look at the comments real quick. Is mock weddings how I got started? I know y'all see my big dome when I look down like that, all right? I'm probably trying to stop doing that too. But yeah, I didn't start with a mock wedding. I got luckily enough that one of my main associates who I work with, he was already in the industry, right? So he was been filming and taking wedding photography for like 8+ years. So by the time I got onto it, I was making creative videos on my TikTok and on my Instagram, and he seen it. And he was just like, nah, man, like you're too creative to just be doing, smaller stuff. So come to me on a wedding shoot and let me know if you like it. Then I'd like to bring you along to other stuff. Cause he's like, you got the creative eye. He's seen the talent in me, I didn't know it would be something I'd be interested in. So I did a few weddings with him, and I did another wedding with another shooter. And I was like, you know what? This is not bad. Like I like interacting with people. I like vibing out with people, it depending on the culture, of course. I like making people feel happy and getting that like just that reaction, So weddings kind of gives that to you, you know what I mean? If you do a good job at it, it's very appreciative of like the clients are very appreciative of good work, you know what I mean? So I think that drove me into that lane because prior to I was doing like nightclub photography and I do like, like maybe a kid's birthday party or something like that. Like you got to start somewhere, obviously, right? And the payout wasn't worth the traveling and doing the work and the editing, and it's not a portfolio I was trying to build. So when I seen the wedding opportunity, I said, "No, what? Can I take some of these photos and use them on my portfolio?" And he said, "Yeah, sure, you can." And after that, I was able to book my own weddings, and I tried and learned, and definitely made it into a full-time business. So that's kind of how I got started. But not everybody's gonna have a friend that's willing to trust somebody who never did a wedding at all to come and professionally do a shoot and pay that person, you know? So if you can't get that, then I'll definitely say do a mock one. Or just, you know, just network. At the end of the day, networking is still the most important thing because you need to network with people that might be ahead of you. Excuse me, that might be ahead of you in the game, and these people can actually show you the ropes, you know. And if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't go out there, you don't go to conferences or workshops and all these kind of stuff, then you're just gonna kind of be stuck in the mud, you know what I mean? And you might be learning, but it's gonna be at a slow rate. If you can always learn so fast by working with somebody, you know. So try to find people within that industry, befriend them if you can, you know what I mean, and network, man. It's so key, so key. All right, I got a few more here. Again, this is my first live, so you know, look at me, right? I'm learning on the fly too, right? So I'm a master this one in due time, but definitely, I really want to do it like this because I just want to be unfiltered. I didn't want to make a super overly produced video. Like I will be dropping some other videos along the way, but I feel like this is a way to connect with people that I never tried before. So I do want to see how I can express myself in this world of just straight up live, no edits, talking to y'all raw, unfiltered, and hopefully y'all can learn something from whatever I'm sharing. And if y'all comment in the comment section, I can learn something from y'all, whether it be in during this live or even after. You know what I mean? So again, I'm trying to build a community of people that can rock with each other. You know, hopefully y'all can even talk in the comment section, learn from each other. Cause I saw that in some of my old videos, and I think that's so dope, man. I think it's dope that like somebody could give their insight because what that person was talking about, I didn't really know about that. So I learned too, you know? So it's like, I just want to build that kind of community or be part of a community like that. And obviously, you know, this is what I do as my full-time thing. So if there's other people with like-minded ideologies and just lifestyle, that's who I want to create. I want more of that in my own personal life. So I just actually finished doing a live kind of podcast thing with this setup. And since it's already been set up, I'm like, hey, let me just go on YouTube and do this too. You know what I mean? So again, man, like I think this thing, I just think everything is dope whenever you just put your heart into it and you just give it a shot. Just give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, what's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? So that's what that is. So to just tie this thing up in the bow, man, I feel like I could definitely touch on more things, but maybe my next live I'll come with a little bit more notes just to kind of organize it a little bit better, and we'll see how that goes. But these are the mistakes that I think a lot of beginner videographers and photographers go through. And to correct them, I just say pre-production, do a lot of work pre-planning before doing the shoot, do a lot of practice shoots, a lot of mock shoots. You know what I mean? Rent and borrow as much as you can, because you don't want to just be spending for no reason. Trust me, like inflation is real. Everything's going up. Sony's charging way more for their product. DJI charging way more for the product. Sigma charging way more for the product. When I first got into this, a lot of this stuff seemed like everything has went up maybe $300, $400 from what it was, right? So try not to overspend, rent, borrow as much as you can, and just be genuine in your approach. You know, don't scam people, don't shortchange people. If you could over deliver, you know what I mean, but I wouldn't suggest to do that all the time. Just over deliver when you feel like it's right. You know what I mean? Some people really may not want it or care for it, and you're just wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? So, but have a genuine, true, good-hearted approach to everything you do. Practice, go over notes, go over footage. Treat it like if you're an athlete and you just played. If you're a basketball player, you just played a game, and now you got two off nights. Treat those days or your off nights as studying. You know what I mean? And then apply it on your next game. You know. So, like I said earlier, don't just keep watching YouTube or keep watching TikTok or keep reading books. Once you feel like you got a good chunk, like you took a good bite out of an apple, you know what I mean? Like you got a good chunk of what you were looking for, go and apply it and see if it actually worked or it actually resonated. Because you will probably learn more on that attempt of trying than whatever you thought you learned reading and watching. So that's that for today. Hopefully, whoever sees this helps you out. Please, please, please hit the like and subscribe. Share this out if you feel like it's helpful for somebody. And please leave a comment, man. Like, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. I would like to do this a lot more. I'm thinking maybe every Sunday, even though today's a Saturday, but I usually got more time on a Sunday. So I'm thinking maybe every Sunday I do a live stream and we just kick it, man. We just talk about whatever the main thing that I'll bring to the table. And if you guys have ideas or things you want me to touch base on, then please leave it in the comment section and we'll make this a weekly thing. All right. So for now, y'all stay blessed. Thank God and peace.